Tina was like, yeah, if you say that, it'll get all your attention. And it worked! So my name is Elise.
And my name is Sophia. We're both current committee members of Metta Centre. And we have the pleasure of being your MC for tonight.
Yay! So on behalf of the Metta Centre and the organisers of this event, we pay our respects to the Triple Gems, the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha.
We also acknowledge the Cabral people of the Darug Nation as traditional custodians of this land we're gathering on today. We also pay our respects to the elders both past and present.
So before we start, I was meant to give you guys some quick housekeeping, which is where the bathroom is. I hope you guys found the bathroom by now.
So Metta Centre's purpose is to advance social welfare and peace with individuals, families and communities and in the world. Being a not-for-profit organisation, we hold all sorts of free events, weekly Dhamma talks from Buddhist speakers from all around the world, urban retreats, residential retreats, temple tours, mindful nature walks and much, much more. All for the purpose of healing our body, mind and heart.
So tonight we celebrate the ending of a spectacular year of the Metta Centre and all our supporters and friends. We definitely couldn't have achieved so much without the wise guidance from our teachers, the generosity of our volunteers and donors, and the kindness of all those who attended our events. What a year it's been! Do you reckon? Yeah! So we want to thank you for being you and all that you have given to our community. We now invite
the superwoman
who has been working tirelessly for the Buddhist community. I'm sure you know. Tina Ng, founder and president of the Metta Centre, for her welcome speech. Please join us in a warm welcome to the stage, Tina Ng.
Thank you so much. How awesome are our MCs? I mean, who starts a Buddhist event singing Hallelujah? They do! But hello and welcome. I'm so happy to see all of your happy, smiling, lovely faces here. It has indeed been such a big year, so it's been wonderful to work with all of you, to see all of you, to be a part of something special with all of you. And I don't know about you, but I can feel a real energy in this room. Great energy, lots of joy, and I know where it comes from. It's the buffet outside of the room. And of course, it's also the awesome company and the people that we have here as well. So, as I look out and see all of you, and I greeted most of you as you came in here, it's just amazing, just knowing all of you and knowing just how much you contribute to the Buddhist community. Not only to Metta Centre, but to the Buddhist community, to your communities. And sometimes we forget that. You know, sometimes we're so busy doing that we don't take stock and we don't take a step back and think, wow, actually, I'm pretty awesome. So today is about that. Today is about friendship, but it's also about celebrating how awesome you all are. And I hope that you will take the time today to also mingle around and meet other people in this room as well, because there are some pretty incredible people sitting here with us tonight. And today is also to celebrate how far Metta Centre has come and what a year it's been. So when I look back at all the things that Metta Centre has done this year, and I was preparing this speech and I was just amazed, astonished. It's mind-blowing just what we can do, because Metta Centre is tiny. I still think of it just as tiny. It's a tiny room in a tiny suburb in Bankstown. It's a non-profit organisation. We don't have a lot of money. Our bank account is tiny. And everything that we do is all based on donations and by beautiful volunteers like yourselves. And yet, tonight, you will hear about all the incredible work and projects that we've been able to do. And remember, we don't have an affiliated temple backing us. We don't have a patron backing us. And the reason why we did that was because we wanted to remain independent. We wanted to be non-sectarian, because we wanted to be an open centre where everyone is welcome. Okay, it doesn't matter which tradition, which tradition of the tradition, which tradition of the tradition of the tradition. We want everyone who is practicing Buddhism and wanting to share about the Buddhist teachings to feel that they are welcome to come and use the space for free. And that's another aspect. After all these years, we're still able to offer services free to the community, free Dhamma events as well. So we've been able to maintain in all these years all these principles that we started off with: non-sectarian, offering free Dhamma talks, free books, free activities, free use of our space, and making sure that everyone feels welcome as they come through the doors. And it doesn't matter what people's backgrounds are. And it doesn't even matter what religion. We've had people from other religions and other faiths to come and attend our events, and they are all very welcome. And so we hope that what we do and who we are and what we offer, we can live up to our name of Metta Centre. We hope to be a centre of kindness and love to everyone. So tonight you will be hearing from some really amazing people. And these are the people who have made Metta Centre what it is now and what it makes all our events just so awesome. You will hear also from our volunteers and also from representatives from other Buddhist organisations who Metta Centre has had the privilege to work with. Because one important aspect of Metta Centre is we want to collaborate with other Buddhist organisations. We want to work and build these friendships in the community, and we want to show people that to build harmony within the Buddhist community is by first having different organisations come together and work together for a common cause. So we're very, very blessed to have beautiful friendships blossom over the years with different organisations. So you will hear also from our keynote speaker and our dear friend Gawaine, Chair of the Buddhist Council. You'll also hear from a very genuine and lovely person, David, who'll be talking on behalf of AEB, the Association of Engaged Buddhists, and Vajrasamma about our projects together. You'll also hear from our different volunteers about the different projects that Metta Centre is currently running, as well as some exciting projects that we will be launching in 2023. And you have heard it here first. So some of these projects are brand new. So it's a very captive audience, so you're going to hear about all these amazing things. And if any of these projects interest you, then at the back of the room, there are forms that you can put your names on for any of the projects. You can do more than one, that you may be interested to volunteer for. So if you just want to learn more about it, you don't have to, it's not a commitment, you're not signing your life away, you just have to write your name on one of those forms or more. And you may then be part of something very special in 2023. And as you know, being a part of something bigger can also be something that can be very enriching for your life. So certainly in my experience, Metta Centre, how far it's come, has changed my life dramatically, and I get to meet some pretty special people like all of you. So I hope you can join us and be part of Metta Centre in 2023 and beyond. Now, some things about Metta Centre, what we've got planned for you. A big part of what we do, as you know, is we organise a lot of free Buddhist events. And so 2023 in particular, we have an impressive lineup of different speakers and different Buddhist teachers from all traditions, all around the world, all available for you to attend, and it's free and it's for the community, and people can attend in person as well as also join us online as well. So we've got some talks, we've got meditation classes, we've got conferences and retreats coming up. And also you can stay updated with our online platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and our website, and you'll hear more about that. We continue to run our Ask a Buddhist program, which started as a response to the COVID lockdowns, and now it reaches audiences from across the world. So you'll hear about that. You'll also hear about the Metta Festival that we had this year, and what an event that was. You'll also get some sneak first previews of some exciting projects in 2023 that we're launching. Firstly, you'll hear about Metta Connections, a Buddhist professionals network. Watch this space, because that, believe it or not, was actually a dream that I had 20 years ago. Over 20 years ago, I thought of this idea. And so it's been incubating, and finally I'm so glad that it's coming to fruition. So you hear a bit about that. Secondly, you will also hear about Buddhist podcasts. Thirdly, you'll hear about Lotus Library, an online e-library, which is our sister organisation. And as you can see, Metta Centre is constantly changing and innovating, and we're trying to adapt to changing times and changing needs. So if you have an idea that you want to just test it, float it around, see whether or not it works, reach out to us, because we're always open to hearing new ideas about how we can be of benefit to the community and bring Buddhism in a different way and present it to the people who need it. So we love trying new things, we love making dreams come true. Even if the dreams take 20 years to come true, it doesn't matter, bring it to us, we'd love to hear your ideas. Finally, thank yous. Thank you to our committee. So thank you to our Vice President, Justin. Justin has been with us since the beginning. Yay! I'm going to embarrass him, but when Metta Centre first started and we had our weekly classes, no one turned up except Justin and I, and sometimes it's just been us two meditating, and we persisted. We persisted, and then another person joined us. And we persisted, and then now, on our regular basis, we have about 20 people on average coming to our weekly events. So, it's been great. So, thank you, Justin, for being with us. And I want to also thank our treasurer, Zen. So, if it wasn't because of Zen, who's going to take care of our money? And we need that money. But actually, he's more than just taking care of our money, which is a big part. But we don't have a lot of money, so there's not a big job there. But importantly, he has been such a wonderful support for Metta Centre and for all of the people who are here. He's always right there supporting us all the way. And certainly personally, as his wife, I've got to say, he's a great support for me as well. So big thanks to him. I gotta say, sometimes when we have a speaker who doesn't turn up, or we've got a slot in the program, it's good to be able to call on good friends like Zen and Justin to say, hey, can you fill in for the day? And they always do, so it's always really good to have people that you can call on, so big thanks to them. And then the two newer committee members that we've had this year who have been totally awesome, as you've already experienced, is Sophia and Elise. And for those who join our weekly sessions, you are always brightened by their smile as they MC for each of the sessions, and it's just been so wonderful to have these sisters join us on this Dhamma journey as well. So thank you for being a part of what we do, and thank you for being you. We also have our volunteer groups. These are the ones that work, there's so many volunteers, I'm not going to bore you today with all of them because there's so many to name, but certainly these are the volunteers that I think we do have to have special mention for. So big thanks to Eugene. Eugene, where are you? So Eugene has been absolutely incredible by ensuring that all of the talks that we have online as well as in person are posted very promptly onto our YouTube page, and he edits them, he shares them, he promotes them, and it's just incredible. And he helps with also our social media as well. So he is our eDhamma Coordinator. So thank you, Eugene. And also, of course, I have to thank Sin. If it wasn't because of him, we wouldn't be able to invite so many different variety of teachers and speakers. So big thanks to Sin too. And lovely Anne over there. Thank you so. Anne has been helping us with Eventbrite and promoting our events for so long. So thank you, and every week she helps us. She's been incredible. Thank you. And I'm going to say thank you to Richard. Richard's been helping us with our newsletters every week. So thanks for that, Richard. And Michelle and Kenny, they are just so full of enthusiasm, and you'll hear more from them today as well about what they'll be launching for us. So thank you for coming on board. And we also want to say thank you to Mitchell, who's been our coordinator for Ask Buddhists. He will be moving on because he's literally moving on to another state, so he won't be able to continue to tell. But he's been absolutely fantastic to work with for Ask a Buddhist, and you'll hear more about that program shortly too. So thank you, Tim. And I want to say thank you to David. Shout out to David. So David has been coming to Metta Centre for a number of years. He's one of those volunteers who's very quiet, doesn't, need a lot of, thank yous and all that, but I really thank you, David, because David used to come very early to help me set up, because sometimes I used to have to set up on my own, and he would set up every single week, and then the other day, him and Zen cleaned all our windows, and if you've ever been to Metta Centre, you know how many windows we've got. Both of them did an incredible job, so thank you, David. All our past volunteers, you are not forgotten. Thank you. Thank you to all our teachers, all our supporters, and also thank you to the Buddhist Council of New South Wales and also the Australian Indonesian Chinese community for their funding to make tonight available to us. So thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely night. One more, sorry. And I want to say thank you to Star Buffet. They can't hear us, but they may listen to this later on, I don't know. But Star Buffet, Dudley in particular, and the staff have been so incredible to give us this space, this room for us to use and make tonight so easy to use. And I want to thank Sophia and Elise again for being such great MCs, and on behalf of Metta Centre and all the people that Metta Centre has ever been able to help, I just want to say thank you for making that difference to them, because that's what makes things change in this world. We may think it's so hard to cause happiness and make changes in the world, but actually each and every one of you, through your actions, through your heart, we've been able to make that possible. So I hope you will continue to be a part of Metta Centre in 2023 and beyond, and I hope you have a wonderful night and a night of celebrations and friendships. Thank you all for being so awesome. Keep being awesome. Have a great night. Thank you.
So a bit about Metta Centre again. So it's a non-sectarian organisation, like Tina mentioned. We support and collaborate with Buddhist temples, communities and organisations from many cultures and traditions. Metta Centre has a long-standing relationship as well with the Buddhist Council of New South Wales, and we're very grateful for their support.
It's our honour to have here with us today Gawaine Davies, Chair of the Buddhist Council of New South Wales. Please join us in inviting Gawaine on stage.
Thank you. This is a completely unique occasion because you pronounced my name. And I can meet someone and I can know them as they know me as Gowan for a few weeks, and then the moment they see the way my name is spelled, they call me Gawaine every afternoon. It's astonishing.
You practice.
Well, attention to detail, it's really impressive. So, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this country, on whose lands we now live. And one of the projects that I want to talk about a little bit is to do with relationships with Indigenous communities, but I'll come to that in a minute. But first I'd like to thank Tina and Zen and Metta Centre for inviting me and for giving me this opportunity to pay tribute to what you do. Because Tina, when you were describing the things that the Metta Centre does and the philosophy behind it, I could have written it down and it would have worked for the Buddhist Council and for many other well-intentioned organisations with big hearts that are out there in the community. It is about the well-being of communities and individuals, and it is about people working for that, partly because they understand how important it is, partly because they understand that it's in fact a very good way to live. It's not all one-way traffic. So I think the reason that many of us become involved in what we do may start off altruistic, may start off for our own purposes, but in the end it's a very nice balance between what we give and what we get. And tonight I think is a nice balance of getting as well as giving, so thank you. I first heard about the Metta Centre about 10 years ago. Probably. When did you first start?
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
But the idea was floating around.
No, it was not to do with the idea. A good friend of mine, Winton Higgins, said to me one day, he said, Winton's a teacher in the Insight tradition, and he said, I've been invited to talk to this mob out at Bankstown called the Metta Centre. He said, I don't know what they want. So he said, I think I'll say something very safe to them. And I think he's been back a few times. Since then I'm not certain, but anyway, he came back and he was still a bit puzzled, but I think he was quite enthusiastic. And since then, the kind of word of the Metta Centre and what you've all been doing has been circulating and floating. And then of course we had the great pleasure of having you and Zen on the board of the Buddhist Council, which really brought your thinking and your energy into our mainstream. And I think what we saw was that the two streams really work very well together. So that has cemented a relationship which is continuing and will continue, and we will obviously do what we can to support each other. I should also acknowledge Justin and Serena, as fellow board members of the Buddhist Council. I meant to do that at the start. What I thought I'd do is just tell you a little bit about the directions that are going on for the Buddhist Council, because it's quite interesting and exciting. Throughout the last 9 months, there's been quite unprecedented meetings and collaboration between senior people from different faith groups, from the Catholics, the Anglicans, the Presbyterians, the Muslims, the Hindus, and a whole bunch of others. It's come out of the work that everybody did during COVID, when it was very clear that we had to work together and we had to work for the community. And what it's led to is the formation of a thing called the Faith Communities Council of New South Wales, which is an organisation which is going to meet 4 times a year. All the major faith groups will be there to meet with government and talk about issues that matter to us and advise the government on issues that matter to them. Now, the reason that's important for the Buddhist community is that the Archbishop of Sydney, Anglican or Catholic, can go and knock on the Premier's door any day they want. We're a very small and generally a very quiet faith group, the Buddhists. We're 2.5% of the population, quite fragmented into different sects and groups. And what I'm discovering is how many places we've been missing from, simply because there haven't been the people to provide a Buddhist voice there. So I've been doing a lot of work this year, meeting with those people, and I hope very much that I will be on the Faith Communities Advisory Council, where I get to hear what the Hindus and the Muslims and others are doing, and work with them as friends. And that's what's happened, we've become friends, which is something quite new and quite exciting. What will come of this I don't know, except that it was an opportunity to put up a proposal for a lot of money to reform hospital chaplaincy, which has been in a terrible state for many years. And I think there's a good chance that we'll get it. And if that comes off, that will be a kind of down payment on what happens when we come, knowing that we've got the backing of the community and are able then to meet with the other people in the government and say, listen, from a Buddhist perspective, this matters. So that's what we're wanting to do. And as we move into next year, one of the things that we're going to be doing is a program about the Uluru Statement and the referendum. We've got some funding from the government, and we're going to run an education program next year in the Buddhist community. All of those groups who are relatively new in Australia, still cementing their place in the Australian community, may not have had opportunities to engage with the Buddhist communities, learn about their issues. So what we want to do is to provide them with opportunities to learn about that, so that when the referendum comes later in the year, they know what it means and they know why it matters. And I think if we can engage the Buddhist community on what is, to my mind, the biggest issue facing Australia, then I think we will all have come a long way. The other bit of coming a long way is that we're almost there with arranging a late celebration of the Second Parliament House, which is hopefully going to be on the 21st of June next year. And we will be inviting the Buddhist community, politicians, and people from other faith groups. And again, it'll be one of the first times that we've come together as a whole, rather than as a Chinese group here or a Tibetan group here or whatever, and presented ourselves to each other and to the community. And I think that's just a great step forward in seeing ourselves as a community of people who share a faith. So that the Uluru project is big, it is quite scary, and if anybody wants to come and join in and be part of it, be very, very interested. We're going to need to employ someone as a part-time worker, and we're going to be needing to go out into some unfamiliar territory. And I'm sure it's going to work well, but I'm not sure quite how. And I think we need people to travel with us on that one. The other thing I'd say, and it's a long way, it is and isn't a long way from the really practical stuff that the Metta Centre does, which is that we're very involved in some of the policy issues that matter to people. So we're active on climate change, we're active on religious discrimination, and we want there to be a Buddhist voice. We want people to know that Buddhists care about these issues, that we know that they matter, and that Buddhism has something to offer that nobody else does. Every faith has something different to offer, and we want to put what we've got on the table. So again, we'll be taking that out more into the community through the next year, and hope that people see their own hopes and wishes and aspirations reflected in all of the things that we do. So Tina mentioned the dreaded word keynote, and one of the things a keynote speaker is sometimes expected to do is to say something wise. So what I will just say is this: what I've learned during this last 9 months of working with people of other faiths, that the foundation of everything is relationship and trust. You can get things right, you can get things wrong. If you stuff up a relationship, then you've stuffed up a relationship. If you build trust, then you can sit, as I did earlier this week with the Bishop of South Sydney and the head of the Hindu Council, to talk about religious discrimination and what does it mean for us all. And we were able to be honest, and we were able to look at our differences. And I think that's the kind of inclusive, Buddhist, accepting, understanding, non-judgmental spirit that I know we all bring to what we do. And I'm finding it very encouraging that it works there as well as it does in the whole broad world that we work in. So thank you for having me. I won't say any more, but it's a great occasion, and congratulations, Metta Centre.
As you may know, one of our hallmark events is our regular Wednesday talks. We're very lucky to meet and hear from every teacher, or many teachers from all around the world, from Thailand to America to India, and from all traditions of Buddhism as well. This ain't possible without the valuable work of Sinsin, our Dhamma Coordinator, aka Dhamma Dewa, to invite the speakers and coordinate our schedules. But Sinsin couldn't be here with us tonight, but he sent his warm wishes by a speech. So Elise will be here to speak on behalf of Sinsin.
Okay, I shall put on my Sinsin hat on. Hi everyone! I have several hobbies. Guess what one of them is? Inviting various Dharma teachers across the globe to run our weekly Wednesday night hybrid sessions for the Metta Centre. I mean, that was an emoticon. Okay, That's a bit of an exaggeration, and some might say, that sounds a bit sad. Well, as a Dhamma Dewa, I guess I can say this. Actually, though this is partly meant to be humour, there's a grain of truth in this. I do genuinely enjoy the process for several reasons. 1, I have the opportunity to connect with like-minded spiritual friends, developing new Kalyana Mitras around the world. 2, I could expand the Buddhist networks and learn from various teachers from a range of Buddhist traditions. 3, I could practice mindfulness and patience during the process. Trust me, many teachers need to be reminded several times, so follow-up emails are the norm. I have the opportunity to listen to inspiring Dharma talks from various teachers whom I call sons and daughters of the Buddha. I see the rich diversity, colours and styles as embodiments of the Buddhist teaching, extremely versatile and caters for individuals with different personalities and preferences. 5, I can gain a better understanding of the Dharma. Why? Because upon reflection on the talks, which I often missed and had a chance to listen to afterwards once the recordings were uploaded, thanks to Eugene, I could conclude that there are actually more similarities than differences. All the teachings point to the essence of the Buddha's words: avoid evil, do good, and purify the mind. And all of the teachings have highlighted the importance of the Noble Eightfold Path and understanding the 4 Noble Truths. 6, finally I experience a pure sense of joy, mudita, knowing that my friends and people enjoy the sessions and, more importantly, can benefit from them. I do truly feel a sense of happiness to know that the Buddhist teaching can spread and benefit many. Next year we will continue, and so far we have secured Wednesday night sessions until June 2023. Don't forget to also attend a global conference hosted by Metta Center on Sunday, 26th of March. There will be a range of great and renowned international teachers who will be sharing their euros of wisdom. I'd like to thank Tina, Zen, Elise, Sophia, Eugene, Justin, and everyone else who I might not have mentioned here for the amazing work they've all done. They worked so hard behind the scenes, and their roles have been so instrumental to the success of the Metta Center weekly sessions. They have willingly sacrificed many hours to help out selflessly, and this act of kindness to me is truly inspiring. What they've done for the Buddhist community is nothing short of incredible. May Metta Center continue to grow and be a source of inspiration and be a sanctuary of peace for everyone who wishes to connect with friends, deepen their spiritual practice, or simply be part of a community. May all beings be happy and finally realize true freedom and liberation. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you, Elise, and thank you, Susan from afar, who's written such a beautiful speech. Now we will have days where we cannot make it to the Wednesday talks. So what happens then? This is where our eDhamma Coordinator, Eugene, comes in, who waves this magic wand and brings these talks onto YouTube and share with us on social media for the world to see. So please welcome Eugene.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sophia. So I mainly help to edit and then share the Wednesday night Dhamma talks on YouTube. And we've had so many really wonderful Dhamma talks recently by such a huge variety of different speakers. Not just monastics, but also lay people as well. So it's really great to be able to watch and then share these talks with people who haven't been able to make it on Wednesday night, but also with people more widely through YouTube. So yeah, many thanks to everyone involved in putting on these talks, from finding and organizing the speakers to emceeing and facilitating the talks themselves. And yeah, so if anyone here uses YouTube, then please consider subscribing to the Metta Center YouTube channel. Yeah, and then the more people watch and like the videos, that sort of leads YouTube to recommend the talk more widely. So, and that will help to share the teachings. But please, don't just click on a video to try to increase the view count. Because I think if you do that and you only if someone watches the video only for a short time, then YouTube probably thinks that the video isn't very good. So we'll probably work against it. Yeah, and then if anyone has any ideas on how we can effectively help to share the Dhamma with others, then please let us know. Like one of the ideas that we're thinking about for next year is perhaps producing some really short videos, for example like less than 1 minute long, on like topics like what is Buddhism, basic things about meditation, like the Brahma Viharas, sort of things like that we can fit into less than 1 minute. But apparently these sort of videos they do quite well on social media. Like TikTok is really popular, and then YouTube is trying really hard to compete with TikTok. So yeah, if anyone is interested in helping with that, like ideas for topics or writing scripts, or actually presenting the videos and recording them, then yeah, please let us know. Yeah, okay, thanks very much everyone. It's very nice to get
So, time to introduce another one of our programs. We've all had times when we're stuck on a Dhamma question, a decision, or an emotion, and we wonder, what would a Buddhist say or do? Well, Metta Center has exactly the right program for it. The Ask a Buddhist program. In this program, you could submit your question to see answers from a panel of Buddhist teachers and practitioners. Mitch has been our wonderful program coordinator, but he's currently overseas, so he is unable to join us today. But he left us his speech to read on his behalf, for us to read on his behalf. So over to Soph to speak on behalf of Mitch.
All right. Mitch hat on. So, what does Buddhism say about same-sex marriage? How can I overcome barriers to giving loving kindness to myself? What did the Buddha teach in regards to karma? These are some of the questions people have asked through the Metta Center Ask a Buddhist program. The program started during lockdown as a way to connect people that were confined to their homes and did not have access to monastic or lay teachers. But after lockdown ended, we realized that people still wanted to keep asking questions, and so the program kept going. The program has become a way for people who do not know any Buddhist teachers nearby to contact Buddhist teachers and ask questions. So far, we have had over 100 questions and way more answers than that. A wonderful panel of monastic and lay teachers have kindly answered many of the questions. Special thanks go to some of our most active responders, Bante Dhamika and Aya Severa. The program will continue as a way for people to reach out to teachers and ask questions about Dhamma and practice. It will also be a place to answer questions such as, well, would Buddhists be okay with a business called samsara recycling? The answer, by the way, was sure, there was no problem, but the name is a little odd. Samsara is meant to be a bad cycle and recycling a good cycle. We may raise confused eyebrows, but we won't be offended. So if you're inspired to be an Ask a Buddhist program coordinator, or if you're interested to help out as well, please also, you can sign your name at the one of the tables, one of the sheets at the end of the room, and one of us will contact you.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.
Thanks, Soph and Mitch from across the Pacific Ocean. So some of you may remember, once upon a time this year, we took over 200 people around the world on a Metta Festival airline. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yes. Everyone's like, oh no. It was filled, yes, it was filled with rainbows of dancing, singing, acting, oh no, there was no acting, music, clapping and cheering from the crowd. The air was filled with so much metta. So please welcome Serena, one of the members of our Metta Festival working group, to say a few words about the Metta Festival.
This, how can we forget when you were the captain? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tina, for asking me to speak. I had to just go do a bit of a rerun of, when was the date? What was happening? It was 6 months ago, so I'm trying to remember what we did, but now it all coming back to me. So after 2 years of lockdown, this year we held our first Metta Festival at the Brian Brown Theatre at Bankstown on Saturday the 18th of June 2022. Metta Centre had actually received funding for the year before, but because of lockdown it was postponed for the year, and finally it came to fruition. Looking back at the objectives of the festival, which Tina had put down, a celebration of the diversity in cultures and practices in Buddhism, an opportunity to bring together friends and family from the various Buddhist traditions to enjoy a day of getting together and learning. It was a day of festivals, talks, performances, stalls, food, and of course different cultural performances. Again, it was a non-sectarian in line with the Metta Centre's philosophy, and its sole aim is to encompass and bring people together for a general appreciation of the Buddha's teaching and how various communities have embraced and put the Dhamma teachings into practice. And what a festival it was. Although, you know, Tina and the Metta Centre was the driving force behind the event, it was a real collaborative effort by everybody. It was the true multicultural festival with the Dhamma bring us all together. Together with Hashani, who's not here tonight, but my role was to coordinate the performers, and what a lineup we had. We travelled around the world under our pilots, MCs Dora and Elise, and we went from Tibet, Vietnam, Laos, Sri Lanka, Korea, Australia, Brazil, China, Spain, Cambodia, back to Laos and Australia again, and then before we finally arrived in Korea. So 1.5 hours of cultural performances and food stalls and cultural stalls and Buddhist stalls. It was such a colourful event. I don't think Bankstown knew what was hitting it. But it was a collaboration from all the different traditions we had. Thank you to the venerables from the different traditions, the Theravada, Mahayana, and the Tibetan traditions who gave us prayers and chants at the very beginning, and then it was a whirlwind of travels around the world. What really touched me about the whole event, and that was my first Metta Centre event as well, was that how all different people from all different aspects of traditions and walks of life came together, and it was all on a volunteer basis. You know, no single cent was spent on us, but it was all purely from the heart, and it was coming together of traditions of people and that we've never met before. I've certainly never, besides Zen and Tina, I don't think I knew as many other Buddhists of a younger generation. Usually it's, you know, people at temples. But it was such a fun and exciting bunch, and they were so enthusiastic, so much. And then from there, we invited performers who again took us to another world from different traditions, different cultures. Some of them couldn't speak English, but they all came because they all, you know, it was sort of like a magnet attracting them to come. And to this day, and you know, afterwards, everyone just kept felt elated about the event. And so the effect it had on people and the coming together of people, and especially after lockdown, I think it just grew the Buddhist community even bigger. And from that, I'm very grateful because I haven't met as many people. But I'll leave you with one final word that really touched someone who was in the audience, and that was Min's youngest son's 6-year-old. Min thought, okay, I'll bring him along, we're going to be there. And I thought, 1.5 hours of Buddhism might tire him a bit. He might go out and play outside and then come back in, and then, you know, he might be a bit bored with the chanting at the beginning. But to Min's amazement, he sat all the way through, mesmerized, would not move. And then afterwards, he said, Dad, look at me. I'm the captain. We're going to take you. And Min showed us the videos of him being captain, and to this day, I want to be an MC at a Metta festival. So we need to have it on again just for Min. And that's today, and Min still tells me 6 months later, he's still talking about the Metta Festival. So I think that's what touched everyone about the Metta Festival, and how different people remember different things, but it all brought us together as a Buddhist community, and that was the purpose of the whole event. So thank you everyone for being involved, supporting us, and we hope to continue in 2023.
And now, for another one of a very exciting up-and-coming initiatives, Metta Connections. So as Buddhists, wholesome livelihood is a very important link in the Eightfold Path. However, it is not always easy, and the path isn't always linear. Metta Connections is a Buddhist professionals network that aims to connect Buddhists with opportunities to work or volunteer for monasteries, Buddhist businesses, and so on. So please welcome Kenny and Michelle to speak further about this very exciting initiative.
Hi everyone. I'm not sure if we need to actually say anything. I think Sophia's covered us very nicely with that intro. Thank you. As Sophia said, I'm Kenny. This is Michelle. We're here just to talk a little bit about something that Tina mentioned earlier tonight, something that, she said has been incubating for almost 20 years, and I kind of picture it as almost like, for anyone that's ever grown vegetables, planting seeds in the ground, sometimes you put them in and it just does nothing for a while, and then the right kind of conditions come, and I think Tina, everything that Tina and Zen are doing, they definitely feel like this is a great time to introduce something called Metta Connections, which Sophia mentioned is a professional networking and development group, but also part of that, alongside with that, is also an online directory that is going to be part of the Metta Center website. So when I reflect on everything that we have heard about tonight, every speech, from Tina's beginning to the Buddhist Council, the work you're doing with interfaith groups, indigenous groups, to the Metta Festival just then, talking about collaboration, there's been a common theme amongst it all. We've heard the words relationships, we've heard the words collaboration, and I think a really important part that underpins all of that is actually connection. It's connection with each other, it's connection on an individual basis, it's connection with businesses, and it's also a connection with temples and organizations. So Metta Connection is trying to connect all these three groups. And how are we going to go about doing that? Well, we've spoken about the two main components of that. So the first one is a professional network and development group. And this is where we want to bring individuals, like-minded individuals. We've heard Tina mention non-sectarian, so it is open to everyone. People, individuals who share the same values and want to connect and network with each other. It's also open to people of all ages as well, because what we want to do is bring in almost a mentorship program where we'd like to have people who are, let's say, in their early 20s who are looking for a mentor, someone to guide them. You know, I remember going through my 20s being very confused is the easiest way of putting it, and especially as a Buddhist, let's say, very confused as a Buddhist, working, trying to forge a career, relationship with money even. Let's throw that out there. You know, so these are all things where having that mentor, you know, can really help someone in their 20s, but we're also opening it up to people in their 30s, 40s, people who are slowly finding their feet, and also beyond. So we want people who are at that stage in life where they would like to give back as well. So that's definitely one component of it. The next component of it is actually the online directory side. So that's where we see that being really important. And I'm going to throw it back to, you know, maybe my experience as well, being part of a meditation center up in Pete's Ridge, and kind of the things that we kind of had to deal with as a meditation center as well. We were always struggling to find trades. We were always struggling to find, you know, traits that we can trust, right? Anyone who's ever asked for work, bathroom, kitchen renter has understood what it's like to be quoted at different price points, etc. So, you know, it's things like that where we're looking for businesses and where we would obviously go through a screening process, but once we've developed that relationship with them, we would like to have their services listed on the website and connect them with other businesses, once again from a networking perspective, but also temples and organizations that are looking for that. Not necessarily just businesses, but even professional services. So think sole traders, think individuals as well. You know, I know the Buddhist Council does some great work with regards to insurance across temples and organizations. This is where we want to come in and kind of help with that networking. This is where we see the kind of synergies that, you know, we can create, because every temple, so in that situation with the meditation center I go to in Pete's Ridge, we had to rely on everyone's individual networks to search for these groups, but we feel like it would be a lot easier and more efficient to have everyone's networks come together through this website. So the online directory is going to be a very big part of that. So as mentioned, the online directory will sit within the Metta Center website. That's our intention. So yeah, that's something that we would like to go through. And like I said, the purpose of this speech is really just, Tina's planted the seed, that seedling's just coming up right now, and this is where we're at, this is our vision, and we really want to get everyone, you know, involved, excited. There's so many, I just look around this room tonight as well, and I see so much potential with the connections. I can list the connections that we've made. I can look at David and Lakshmi, who we met a few months ago for the first time on a retreat, Alex at Vegacella, Meredith, Andy, you know, Sophia and Elise, who've done such a great job connecting everyone here. I met David for the first time tonight and was inspired to hear him taking a 2.5-hour trip to be here tonight. You know, so for me, those are the connections that, you know, we really want to foster. We really want to, you know, we really want to grow. So, you know, that's essentially what we want to talk about tonight, and I think Michelle will say a few words about it.
Yeah, so if you're keen and interested, like Tina mentioned, there's forms at the back, so just fill in your names and then you can just write like you're interested to be part of Metta Connections or any part of the Metta Center's project in 2023. We'll be very appreciative and grateful if we can have everyone on board or any support in any way. Yeah, so that's all.
In any capacity, thank you very much.
Thank you. So next year, yeah, we're doing a soft launch next year. So maybe watch the space on Metta website, and also we're planning to do physical events. So like physical networking events where we all can come together and meet and just sort of just meet like-minded professionals as well. So watch the space on the Metta Center's website and the social media platforms. We'll send something out when we have finalized something. Yeah.
So next up, we have Terry from our sister organisation, Lotus Library. Lotus Library is an online e-library of free Buddhist books. It's set up by Terry, Zen, and Tina. Terry will also be facilitating Thursday meditation sessions at Metta Center in 2023. So please welcome Terry.
Evening. Can everyone hear me up the back? That's good. Right. Look, what we have with Lotus Library is an online Buddhist library with 1,400 titles. They're all in PDF format and they're all downloadable. So I hope you'll check out the website and tell your friends, go on Facebook and spread the word, please, because there are lots of Buddhists and they're often scattered. Any poor Buddhists that are in the country towns don't have any sort of monastics nearby, they don't have other fellow practicing Buddhists, but at least they have this Lotus Library handy. They can have available 1,400 books to read. Just a little bit of history on the library. I started a few years ago when I went into the Buddhist library in Camperdown and started doing volunteer work there. From that I started putting together these books. And an e-library is actually a database. And in this database there's about 26,000 entries. So it's a bit of a massive work over a 4-year period of time. The involvement with the Metta Centre is because Tina and Zen have given me a lot of help and encouragement there. So many thanks to Tina and Zen. Right, that's pretty much about it, but have a look at the website. It's quite well organised. You can search by title or author. As well, you can get up all the books of a certain tradition, or you can go in any one of 47 different categories, whether that be meditation, mindfulness, generosity. The list goes on, and you can get a whole list of books that feature that topic. So check it out and please spread the word. All right, thank you.
Next up, we'll be talking about podcasts. So podcasts are a growing new era of learning and sharing information. Buddhist Podcast is a project that will be headed by Mei-Ann Lee. Mei-Ann? Sorry? Mei-Ann, yeah. Where's Mei-Ann? Oh, yeah, there. So this project will be interviews with Buddhist teachers and practitioners about their story and practice and be available to listen on podcast platforms. Please welcome Mei-Ann.
Hi everyone, I'm Mei-Ann, and I just wanted to present an idea tonight. It's very early stages. I already kind of mentioned it to Tina a couple of weeks ago, but the idea has kind of been ruminating in my head for a little while as well. Basically, it's the idea of hearing the voices of Australian monastics and practitioners. I'm really interested in hearing about their life stories and learning about how they got to where they are now, what kind of life experiences they've had, key sliding door moments and their experiences with other teachers and key learnings that they've had over the years. And I suppose the key inspiration for me has been, I'm not sure, most of you probably know about the ABC Conversations podcast with Richard Feidler and Sarah Kowalski. It's a really interesting podcast. It's a deep dive, like over 30 to 40 minutes usually, of someone's life story, usually very interesting history and experiences both locally and internationally, and it's just a really
accessible way of hearing a biographical story of someone. And I feel like in the podcast world we're kind of missing a little bit of this, especially for Australian monastics and practitioners, you know, understanding how they got to where they are. And I'm kind of wanting to capture these stories before we lose access to their voices as well, given that a lot of these monastics and practitioners are getting on. So that was kind of the idea. So kind of looking for other people to bounce ideas off, people to share in the project, tech support, or any kind of contribution, any help, or yeah, just people to share this idea with and establish it. So yeah, if you're interested, feel free to have a chat with me or put your name down on the list. Yeah, thank you.
So another important part of what Metta Centre does is to build bridges and relationships with other Buddhist organisations by collaborating to run events, activities and retreats. We are grateful to have here with us David O'Rose, a member of the Association of Engaged Buddhists, AEB. Please join me in warmly welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you. What a wonderful night. You know, so much energy and so much youthful vigour. It's great for us. The Association of Engaged Buddhists is at the other end of the age spectrum. But here we are. Ageism doesn't feel as though it's a living thing here. You know, to meet Tina is to be at the same time caught and liberated in one movement. And it just struck me as I'm sitting there just looking at this wonderful representation of a pair of hands which are both catching the lotus and freeing it. And I thought this is what the central energy of what we are is to come together in a way that frees us. And I think there's so much magic in this room. All the people that have spoken have demonstrated that sort of energetic. I'm here to talk about the collaboration between the Association of Engaged Buddhists, represented by a small fraction of the group here, and this wonderful, vibrant community that Tina's brought and gathered around her. One of the lovely things that's happened to me is in meeting Tina, we became what's called the dynamic duo. And Tina provided the dynamism, and I made up the two to make the duo. So that's how it worked, but it started to flower, and we met online, and there are lots of people here who joined online, and I was struck immediately by the openness and the willingness to share so deeply and intimately online, which is something not easy to do. And of course Tina sort of managed all the buttons and knobs to make all the chats and everything work together, so a really lovely collaboration on all those nights. And with the Association of Engaged Buddhists, we've been very busy over the last year particularly, bringing together the regeneration after the bushfire of Vajrasattva down the south coast on the way to Goulburn, about an hour and a bit south of Sydney. And this wonderful people who've been there to help us out getting the retreat centre sort of cleaned up and organised, and Kenny and lots of other people have done so much hard work in that direction. But it's come together as a welcoming gathering, that just people showing up there, whether they're just working or attending a retreat, which Tina and I led just recently, at the end of last year. It's a magical place. It's a place of beautiful trees and greenery and spaciousness. There's a waterfall. It's a place of sanctuary where we can come together and be healed in the mind and body and heart, and experience a real togetherness and a real sort of development of friendship in eating together, in walking together, in sharing the Dhamma together, and magic happens here. And one of the lovely things that happened in the retreat was that Bhante Dhamma, who is the central figure in the association, came on the last day, despite the fact that he's been suffering significantly with illness, to deliver a rather lovely talk, which was attended so focused way by all the young people. And it's like the wise old man, the wise old Buddhist. It reminded me of the original teachings of the Buddha, and people gathered around, and he delivered a Dhamma talk, and it was so generously accepted, and he was absolutely delighted with the youthful energy in the room. And he spoke to me just recently. I asked him, I said, what should I talk to this group about? And he said, just tell them how happy I was to see all these young people. And it just gave me great joy as the fruition of a dream I had so many years ago. And he was clearly delighted. So I'm so grateful to all of you for contributing to that. And I really want this association of the Engaged Buddhists to be a very key collaborative energy with all of you. And if I can do anything to make that happen, then I'm here for you. So thanks, Tina, once more. And thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, David, for such a heartfelt speech. And yes, I really enjoy the dynamic duo. I mean, personally, I have benefited so much. I mean, I went through those peaks and troughs times, and I joined one of David and Tina's talks, and it really helped uplift me back then during those rough times.
So now for a very exciting part of the night. The most exciting. I always say that about everything. This is actually very exciting. It's
and an integral part of, a lot of Buddhist events.
Like every Buddhist event. We're going to have a group photo.
Yay!